Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will present an interim union budget for the remainder of this electoral cycle on the 1st of February. This short, truncated budget will be the last to be announced before the upcoming Lok Sabha elections. But what is the fuss all about? You see, every year, just before the close of the financial year, the Finance Minister lays the year's union budget before the Parliament. It is perhaps the biggest event on India's economic calendar. The union budget is, in a sense, a financial statement of the Indian government. It details what the government has earned and spent previously and what it intends to earn or spend in the coming year. From afar, this may seem like a dry exercise in mapping the country's finances, but it is much more. See, the money is the lifeblood of the government, and so the budget is not just a financial presentation, it is also a presentation on policy. It highlights precisely what the government intends to do in the coming year. It also sets the country's economic agenda for the year and indicates the central government's concerns and priorities going ahead. All of this affects you in a very real way. See, it is you that the government takes money from, and it is you that it spends on. The schemes and taxes presented in the budget presentation will touch you directly. This budget will be different. This year, on February 1st, we shall see an interim budget. An interim budget is basically a temporary budget. Today's ruling NDA government may not be in power after the Lok Sabha elections this year, and even if the alliance wins again, the new Lok Sabha may have different people, including a different finance minister. It would be unfair if the current Lok Sabha could bind the next one with its own budgetary decisions, right? This is why instead of a full budget for the entire coming year, this interim budget shall only provide for a few months until the next Lok Sabha comes in. The government will also not be permitted to make any big changes that goad voters into electing it back in. Now here is some fun budget related trivia for you. Why is the budget presented on the 1st of February specifically? You see, until 2016, the Union Budget was presented on the last working day of February, a tradition followed since the British era. However, the government presents various changes on the day of the budget, many of which kick in from the 1st of April when the new fiscal year begins. For instance, it may suggest an entirely new way in which tax is collected. The government would only have a single month to reorient, update its systems, and train its personnel to accommodate this change. Breaking free from the 92-year-old tradition, former Finance Minister Arun Jaitley moved the date of the budget to February 1st to give the government more breathing room to implement these changes. What is the halwa ceremony? The halwa ceremony is hosted 5 days before the budget presentation in the Parliament for the Finance Ministry staff. This ceremony marks the beginning of the printing of budget-related documents. It also signifies the start of the lock-in period for the officials and support staff involved in the budget. To maintain the secrecy of the budget details, the personnel engaged in the budget preparation are required to stay in the North Block Secretariat building, isolated from the entire world until the budget is presented in the Parliament.